Once again, good morning. Thank you for your words, Mr. Chair. Actually, hearing the first panel, there were some very interesting presentations. So I would like to change my presentation in the way that I will talk about the case study, as a case study, what's happening in Turkey. Because we had our own challenges. Traditionally, universities and academia has been rather strong in Turkey, probably since centuries. And the industry, the business community, probably picked up 1940s and 50s and has grown since then. But all that period of the second half of the 20th century, 60s and 70s and 80s and even 90s, we had several challenges, and probably very similar challenges which was laid out by the last speaker of the first panel, the challenges of the Arabic world, that the academia and the industry wouldn't talk to each other, wouldn't cooperate, and wouldn't create more value for the market. So that is probably very limited prosperity coming to the society. So, of course, I will go through basically what we are doing at ODTÜ Teknokent, but again, as a public policy, many ministries, governmental agencies, universities, as well as the private sector has taken a major step in employing technoparks in Turkey. So there has been a particular decree which is allowing universities to apply for a science and technology park. I call them technopark. And then there would be lots of tax incentives to those investors and to those research-based companies if they would come on board on campus and help to commercialize what is being developed at the university as core research. Currently, there are about 50 technoparks in Turkey, thousands of new companies, startups, tech-based. They are rather doing very well. Millions of market value, thousands of new jobs created. So I think now that we are talking about what is being done in the US, and there are surely lessons to be learned out of that, but there is, so to speak, a Turkish model which I believe it could be quite applicable. It's quite practical in terms of the regional needs and expectations. I also sense this through all those cooperation and collaboration that we are doing in the region, with Tunisia, Egypt, Oman, Azerbaijan, and several other countries. We are dealing with universities, incubation centers, ministries, and several other bodies so that we could transfer somehow that talent or that experience we have been developing in Turkey. So again, the industry and the academic world have been on two sides. Lack of communication and lack of knowledge transfer. And that is basically where, as a public policy, technoparks are placed so that we could close this gap in between. Because there is lots of research, core and applied research, but not transferred into the market as new products and new services. So the commercialization was a problem. And when we're talking about the technoparks, it's actually university-industry collaboration. It's an ecosystem. It's the right climate that the investors, the VCs, the business angels would deal with startups tech-based or not. We have incubation programs, we have pre-incubation programs, we have an acceleration program as well. Of course, international cooperation is one of those very important items on our agenda. This is the management structure. We are sitting in between the management company. We are a management company, partly owned by the university, but partly by the industry. And we deliver several duties. We do the monitoring, we do the selection. We don't allow every company to be on campus. We are checking their projects. If it's an original and high value, high impact project, then we allow them to come to campus and talk to the academia. So entrepreneurship, I'm a professor of entrepreneurship and innovation. I'm lecturing as well in various universities, in various bodies. So if you look at, unfortunately, probably it's too small for you from there, but it is a culture. You require to create a culture. So some cultures, probably Anglo-Saxon cultures, have more progress in that particular area. But the region, it's going to be through training, it's going to be through role modeling, it's going to be through mentoring that we have to conduct more courses, more training programs, more incubation programs. That is actually what happened. I mean, if you go back 15, 20 years, we were hardly entrepreneurs in Turkey. As it was mentioned in the first panel, it was mostly looking for jobs. Very smart, talented people, engineers or other disciplines, they were looking for jobs. But I think what has been done in the last 15 years, now we are looking for major corporations coming from startups. So I think the culture of entrepreneurship is somehow created. So the industry and the university, and there are different programs and different mechanisms how they would talk to each other, how they would collaborate to create more value, and how they would share that value. So just to give you a figure, there are almost 2,000 contracts, more than 1,000, currently it's more than 1,000 joint R&D projects, lots of European Union projects, and thousands of new products and services coming to the market. Our focus, particularly those more than 300 companies we have on campus, the focus is on particular areas. Life sciences is one very critical area. The defense industry, as we are based in Ankara, and the procurement is done in Ankara. ICT and telecom is a very growing market. And advanced technologies, advanced material, and consumer electronics. But yes, international collaborations, as I mentioned, we are dealing with Pakistan, we are dealing with Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan. What we do is we bring a strong element of consultancy into the picture. We create from scratch a business plan, and then we look at the market demand. We measure, we conduct a market research, and we measure the demand, and then we come up with the right, through diagnostic tools and systems we have, we provide consultancy to those institutions, universities, or ministries we are dealing with. We also deal with European and US-based counterparts. For example, Sophia Antipolis, south of France. We have a contract with them, and we exchange know-how. So just to give you some figures, Ottu Technokent, this is the largest and the first technopark in Turkey. But we're trying to be the most innovative more than the size. We are more than 300 companies. And importantly, I should mention that 60% of the companies were created in that particular ecosystem. So it's a self-generating ecosystem that the graduates, the students, the newcomers, they do create companies, startups, and our survival rate is about 20% because we are very careful in delivering training and mentorship. So we work hands-on. So probably that's why we reach on tech-based startups, we reach about 20%. Well, some of the companies who conduct their research on our facilities, we have some major players like Siemens, Cisco, Komodo, as well as some local major players, consumer electronics and telecom companies of Turkey. Aviation, lots of software and electronic systems, military equipment, devices, automotive, special material, so it varies. So actually, the location and the site, we are on campus. We are using a small portion of Middle East Technical University. So as the problem I have, the challenge I have mentioned, that the academia and the industry would have difficulties to talk to each other. So the public policy in Turkey, with that legal framework, the decree that was passed 12, 13 years ago, it mentions that universities will create their technoparks and the research companies and the software developers, they will come on campus and work with the students, with the graduates, with the academics, with the researchers. So far, it's about 120,000 square meters. This is office space. It's all full, and there are about 60, 65 companies who are eligible, waiting for more space to be available. Couple of pictures. So basically, it's some lean buildings, structures, infrastructure. So these are researchers working there. It's the university, the campus life. So it's quite innovative area that everyone learn from each other. It's sharing information, it's sharing experience. Probably that's why we are very keen on international cooperation, that we would like to share our experience. What is also very interesting, years of this public policy, now the state, the ministry, has created an index of innovative and entrepreneurial universities. And the last one, which was announced, Middle East Technical University, that's the university that I work for, turned out to be the most innovative and entrepreneurial university. They have a similar program on technoparks, and ODTÜ Technopark was ranked the first. So which is interesting about this is that as we, the universities and technoparks, we don't really work in a very hostile environment, a very harsh competition. It's on intellectual ground. So that kind of a ranking and making an index and ranking the technoparks and the universities on entrepreneurship created an unexpected level of cooperation and sharing information, sharing experience between the universities and between the technoparks. So that's basically us. So if you would show more interest, I'll be happy to talk to you during the break. Thank you.